Good afternoon and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. We are doing a game over on Ginger's Corner called Scrapbook Land. And we have a game board. It's kind of named after Candyland. And we have a little game board. And each day our captain rolls for us, and we move that many spaces, and then we create whatever that space tells us to. Well, my first roll was a 5, and I had to do a pet title, I think is what it was. And so I actually did an embellishment and a title because I want to use it. I've got something I want to use it on, I think, pretty quick. And so I just decided that I would go ahead and do both. So I'm going to try to do this really quickly. It's going to be called So Doggone Cute. Of course, you know, I have grandsons that are so doggone cute that I'm always doing something. That's mostly what I scrapbook. Occasionally, I do something for myself or my son or my daughter or a trip or something, but most of the time, I'm doing things that are my grandsons. So very quickly here, I really was going to do some of these in advance, but I didn't get it done. I've already got my second roll. My next one has to be a goat embellishment. So you're just going to have to come see what I come up with for that. I don't really have anything in mind yet. This one is a cricket design, and I just went through and found one on my Cricut that I could do this little puppy dog, and then I made the title on my Cricut. I love to do titles on my Cricut. That's what I do more than anything, is just title stuff, but there are some cute embellishments on there too. And I first thought I would have this little dog holding this title like a sign, but I'm going to leave them separate just in case that isn't what I want to do when I actually get ready for the layout. So while I'm going to just keep doing these, let me do the twist real quick. Today, the twist, this is a challenge that I have given myself, and so I thought I would just pass it on. I decided that I was just going to kind of go through the 10 Commandments and work on them. Just kind of work on each one of them. Now, I'm going to list the 10 Commandments. You know, one time, I do this every once in a while in things that I teach, and like when I do devotionals at craft weekends and things like that. I've done this several times, where I just give them a sheet of paper and a pencil and tell them to list the 10 Commandments. Most people get about 8, and then they go blank. So I'm just going to remind you of what all those commandments are. We just kind of take them for granted, I think, that we know them. But then when it comes time to actually list them, we're like, oh, I kind of forgot. Anyway, the 10 Commandments, we start with, you shall have no other gods before me. And then number 2 is, you'll have no graven images. And then number 3 is, do not take the Lord's name in vain. Number 4, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Number 5, honor your father and your mother. Number 6, thou shalt not kill. Number 7, here, I've got to get this E fixed here. Number 7, do not commit adultery. Number 8, not to steal. Number 9, not to bear false witness. And number 10, not to covet. So those are the 10 Commandments, just very generally. And so I thought, because when you really get down to studying the commandments and thinking about it, we don't keep those commandments as well as we think we do sometimes. So I decided that I was just going to try to do a time where I concentrate, like for a week or so, on each commandment in my life and look at things through the lens of that commandment to be sure that I'm actually keeping it. Well, instead of just going in order, I decided that I would go in the order that I thought I was the weakest in. And the one I chose to start with is to keep the Sabbath and to keep it holy. I find myself, and I want to challenge you to choose a commandment this week and just kind of view your life through the lens of that commandment as you live each day. Am I really keeping that commandment in the sense that God intended me to? Because when I think about the Sabbath, I think of things I do on Sunday. Because the Sabbath, when we read about the Sabbath and the commands about the Sabbath, now I realize that we're not under Old Testament law the way they were, but still, the Sabbath is the Sabbath. We need that day a week to rest. We need that day a week to just be in communication and really thinking about our lives and how dedicated we are to God. And so if I'm doing laundry and working in the flower bed, I go to church, but if I come home and just start doing laundry or cooking for the week or working in the flower beds or whatever, am I keeping the Sabbath the way God intended? And I have to say, no, I'm not. I should be resting. And I honestly believe, and I say this a lot, I honestly believe that if we kept the Sabbath and we truly rested that day, that we would get more done during the week ahead and we'd come out in the long run better. So I'm going to honestly try to catch myself and say, no, that's not something you need to be doing. Now, Sabbath is actually Saturday. Nothing ever changed it to Sunday, but I use Sunday as my Sabbath because that's when I go to church, and whatever day of the week Saturday, Sunday, whatever day of the week you use as Sabbath. But are you keeping a day that is for rest? God rested on the seventh day. He had created everything, and he rested on the seventh day. If he rested, he expects me to rest. I think we would have fewer health problems. I think we would actually accomplish more in the other 6 days. And so I'm going to really try to concentrate on that and try to honestly keep the Sabbath the way God intended it to be. Okay, so there we go. Now, this little dog, the way Cricket did it is kind of different from what it is. Literally, you saw me put the tongue is the only thing that's pink, and that was the first layer. And then there's white, because there's going to be some white in his little eyes, and you get the entire outline each time. And then the next one is this black one. The thing that is, you say, boy, that's kind of weird and uses a lot of paper, and it does. But the good thing about it is when you get finished, you've got all of these layers, and it has so much dimension. You don't need foam tape. It's like having chipboard. And so it's really kind of neat, and it's very substantial instead of like some of those like die cuts and things you get from Temu where you have to glue it together, on a hair. So anyway, this is the first one, I think, that literally everything that every tiny little thing is a complete layer. See, the only thing that's pink is his little tongue. The only thing that's white are the whites of his eyes. And yet there were full layers for those. And this one is the black of his eyes. So, but I think he turned out cute. I think he's a cute little embellishment. And he's going to go cute with my title. Get him all glued up here. we go. I try to lift him up and really line those layers up. Oh, and you know what? I didn't ink, and I am going to ink. This is the first layer that needed to be inked, and so I am going to do that. I want, let's see, there is the vintage photo, or do I want ground espresso? Let's just see what we want. Let me put the lid on my glue for just a second so that doesn't stop up. Someone asked me the other day about this precision tip, and I gave them the information, but I wanted to show this to you. It is by Nuvo, and it's called a precision tip, and it comes to a package, and I just got them on Amazon. So I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see, where is my brown dauber? If I can find one. That's close enough. So let's just see whether we want the ground espresso. You know what? I think I do on this outer one for sure. And I meant to do this before I put them together because it would have been much easier. And not all of this is going to show, but I don't know at this moment what is and isn't. So I'm just going to kind of go around it. I don't even know how much of this little layer shows. I forgot. What I do on my Cricut designs, I print them out and then I put them in a book so that I can go back later and it helps a lot. I don't really like the way Cricut does their cutting, but I prefer the way Silhouette cuts. But regardless, it does help to have that picture. And it's hard to get back to it to look at it while you're in the process of cutting to say, now, what color did I mean, it shows you what color, but if you want to change the color scheme and you didn't actually change it on the thing and you were just going to change it, on the paper, then it's kind of hard to. Okay, this one goes here. See, I don't think I even had, there are some places the brown shows, so I'm glad I caught that and did ink that. While I'm inking, I'm going to go ahead and ink these pieces, and then I won't have to, I've got to trim this one just a tiny little bit. It didn't cut perfectly right there, and I'm going to trim that just a little. There we go. Kind of ruffle it up a little. Okay. Probably vintage photo would have been plenty dark for this one, but that's okay. We're going to use this anyway. We've started with it. Get that all inked up. Are you still having bad storms? We're supposed to have some weather come through. We had a tiny little bit of rain this morning, and then I think we're supposed to get quite a bit more tonight and then the rest of the week. Possibly some hail and things like that, but definitely rain. And we need it. Our lakes are low, and we definitely need the rain. I just don't want the storms. We were kind of on the edge of what could have been severe last night and this morning, but we didn't get anything severe, so that was wonderful. All right, almost finished with this. One more ear flap. This is just where his little ear flops over. Okay. now let's see if we can go back to assembling. So every color is literally a layer instead of just, you know, cutting out dots or something. Every color is a layer, which is kind of unusual. I think I just did this one upside down. I hope it doesn't matter, because I think this is the side that I inked. I hope it's the same on both sides and it doesn't matter. Because this is definitely the back side. Oh well, no one will ever know. All right, there's that. I am gonna see if I can, this ink doesn't really show much on this dark brown, but I want a little bit right in there. If I do this again, I've got to remember to ink it before. Okay, there we go. And now this little layer is like the little, his little breast, kind of a little breastplate, and his head. Okay. Oops, get off me. Oh, it did matter on that one because, oh well, I'll trim that away. Because of the way the little tuft on his head went, I'll just have to trim that away and it won't hurt anything. I just wasn't paying attention. All right, and then this little piece is his little muzzle, and then right down the middle of his breast. Okay. There we go. And then his little ears, or the little flaps of his ears. And this one. There we go. If I make another one of these, because I usually have to have two, because I do two of nearly everything, I will give him some little eyelashes. He definitely needs some little eyelashes. Let's find our good little fine tip pen. Make sure that it's working. Yep. Let's give him some little eyelashes. Okay, maybe a little thing above his nose, maybe a little tuft over his eyebrows. I may go back and do a little more, just a few more lines on that, but that's what I want for now. And like I said, if I do this again, I think I will use the ground espresso on this brown, but I think I would use the vintage photo on the rest of it. And I'm going to trim this so that his little tuft is all going one direction, since I inked that one upside down. Not, like I said, it isn't going to really hurt anything, but I don't want, it could have been crisscrossed and wouldn't have hurt a thing, but I don't want it that way. All right, so there he is with his little, let's turn this over so it's clean on this side. There's my little puppy dog and my little So Doggone Cute, and that is my square on the Scrapbook Land game for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back probably to do a goat, a goat embellishment of some kind. I got to figure that one out. So thank you. Have a blessed day and be a blessing to someone else.